I watched 3 Indian horror movies, and I'm going to rank them from what I thought the worst was to the best. This ranking and review will be spoiler free, so hopefully this can give you a good idea on if you want to see any of these films. I recently posted a poll on YouTube asking like what I watched insert amount of videos I should do next, and not only did that poll become my most popular post on YouTube, but the option for Indian horror movies blew the competition away. Now, before I fully get into my review, I think it's important to mention that I'm not very familiar with the Indian culture or culture from India. I also don't fully know how films are traditionally made in India, so that's just something to keep in mind. I might not fully understand everything, and I watched the films all subtitled, so just things to keep in mind. Anyway, with that, let's get into the video. I watched the movies in this order: Tumbbad, Demonte Colony, Bali. In last place, I put Demonte Colony. Four friends go into a haunted mansion on a whim, but they do not realize that they have returned home with an evil spirit from which escape might be impossible. I think out of the 3 films I watched for this video, this is the biggest disappointment. I went into this film actually not expecting anything, but then I had a really good time and I really enjoyed the first half. Sadly, I found the second half to be a big disappointment. The first half of this film is an absurd comedy. The plot is very, 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 very loose. The plot is definitely not the best, but I had a really good time with it. It was just fun. It was funny. It wasn't technically good, but it was enjoyable. But in the second half, it really switches gears, and it feels, at least to me, like it goes almost completely horror. I think there might be like one funny other moment, or maybe a couple, I don't know. And I can't say I really enjoyed that direction, the direction of going fully horror. In fact, I found the second half of this film very boring. And, maybe I was tired and that impacted my rating. I don't know, that's a possibility. Maybe I should give the benefit of the doubt. And I just didn't really enjoy any of the horror in this film. I found the first half really fun. I found the second half a drag. I also didn't really like how the second half almost entirely took place in one room. The first half didn't. I'm not fully sure why they went this direction. Maybe it was a budget thing. I'm not sure. I just wasn't a big fan of that. I also think that the film could have been shorter. It's almost 2 hours, and while that's not very long, I think it could have been a shorter film, maybe like an hour and a half. This film also wasn't very gory or anything, and that's not a bad thing, and I didn't expect it to be, but there was one bloody scene, or one bloodier scene, but it was blurred, and I'm not sure why that was. I don't know if there is a version where it's not blurred, but I thought that was pretty funny. I was like, why is this being blurred? In second place, I put Bali. Life of a widowed father turns upside down when his 7-year-old faints and is taken to the hospital for a detailed diagnosis. His son starts talking to a mysterious nurse, who he claims is staying in the deserted part of the hospital. So I don't think this is like a great film, but I thought it was solid enough. The dynamic between the father and son was done very well. This is one of the best fathers I've seen in a horror movie. You could just like tell the father really cared for and loved his son. I will say I don't really understand the second half-ish. I just don't think what happened really made much sense. Though, maybe it did, maybe I just didn't understand it. After I watch a film for a video, I like to read a recap on that film so I can better understand the film and maybe pick up some things that I missed. But for the life of me, I cannot find a synopsis of this film. That's probably because this film isn't very well known. I believe it has less than 200 watches on Letterboxd as of recording. That being said, for a film with very few watches, it didn't feel super low budget to me. There were a couple of dumb decisions, but I'm not really going to complain about that. I really like the setting that this film took place in. It took place in a hospital, and if you know any good horror movies that take place in a hospital, please tell me. I would love to check some out. I also thought this film had some pretty creepy moments. I personally didn't enjoy this film a ton, but I definitely didn't hate it. And in first place, to probably no one's surprise, I put Tumbbad, India. 1918, on the outskirts of Tumbbad, a cursed village where it always rains. Vinyak, along with his mother and brother, care for a mysterious old woman who keeps the secret of an ancestral treasure that Vinyak gets obsessed with. This is probably the most well-known of these films that I'm going over today. This film has some pretty good creature designs. There's this one specific design that I really liked that was at the beginning. There was also a scene of body horror I really liked relating to that specific design. I won't spoil it. All I'll say is it has something to do with a tree. I thought it was also pretty cool how this film had chapters in it. It's broken into 3 chapters, each taking place at a different time in chronological order. I just thought that was an interesting way of showing the film. I also really like how this film focuses on the worldly pursuits of people and like the wrong and unethical things that people will do to get what they want. and the consequences of those actions. This film just couldn't ever get me that invested. I never felt fully invested in the story, but I think it's overall a pretty solid film. So overall, I would say I didn't love any of these films, but I'm definitely willing to watch some more movies that come from India. In fact, I am going to eventually have to make a part 2 to this film, since 2 of these films have sequels or upcoming sequels, and one of the 2 has 3 films in its franchise. So expect that video coming sometime in the future. It'll probably be a while before I do that video, since I have a lot of other fun upcoming videos. If you like this video, consider checking out some of my other videos, and if you like those videos, consider subscribing. If you like this video, I would definitely recommend watching one of my I Watched For Disturbing movies. I had a lot of fun making those, and I am planning on making a new one soon, so just a little heads up. Anyway, that's all for today. I would love to know your thoughts on any of these films if you've seen them, and maybe we can have a bit of a discussion in the comments. And with all that said, until we meet again, bye.